Welcome back to the Nullified Take, where we have the TNT takes for you on Survivor 47, Episode 5, The Scales Be Tippin'. And I'm here with my good friend, Coach Drew. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing all right, man. My winner pick survives another episode. I guess I kind of got scared for her towards the end, even though her name never actually got brought up, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. And I don't know, would you say that, are we batting 5 for 5?
We're batting 5 for 5. We're batting 5 for 5.
Okay.
And I do want to start with that because some people did mention the fact that I'm starting to come off bitter towards people that have hated the last 6 seasons. And it's because I am bitter towards the people that have hated the seasons, the last 6 seasons. I have enjoyed and or loved most, and I feel like this season has been a capstone on what we have gotten post COVID. Not to say that 48 and 49 mean nothing, but like it's good shit, pal.
Oh, this is good shit for sure. And yeah, I would say that, like, I think I've said this in past, podcasts, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but the pre-merge is over, pre-mergatory, everyone being on the same beach. That is always the weakest part of these new era seasons. So the fact that they batted 5 for 5 in the pre-merge, like, that's pretty crazy. And I haven't been in the Survivor discourse as much this season. I just felt like, I don't know, just get away from it for a season. Just try to come up with my own original thoughts. Like, I didn't want to be influenced by anything. If those guys aren't appreciating this shit, man, I'm with you. Like,
yeah,
what do you want?
What else do you want? You're not going to get your 26 days. You're not going to get your favorite people coming back until 50. You're not going to get any of this stuff. Just be happy with what you're getting, and what you're getting is pretty good television. Not even pretty good. It's damn good television, and it's and I will say that I'm not really involved in the Survivor discourse this season either, but I know that there are folks out there that are still, oh, well, it's not the same as before. It's like, yes, that's nostalgia goggles. That's like saying, oh, cinema isn't what it was in the 90s, or music wasn't what it was in the 90s, or you can get away with more stuff back in the early 2000s. Like, yes, you're right. You need to stop thinking like that. Things change. I'm doing a rewatch of the show. If you ever watched The League. The League, the show from FX, Spike TV, or FX, I think, mid 2000s, and inherently it is a very funny show, but a lot of the stuff didn't date too well. I can still laugh at it because, of course, I can. But I'm not going to say, oh, today's sitcoms are nothing like this show, because today's sitcoms, I loved Superstore when that was out, and that would have considered that a today sitcom. All of that to say, people need to just shut up and enjoy the ride. I can believe that. I can't believe the Andy redemption arc now in the comments. Yeah, I mean, the two of us actually have been saying this since episode 1, that Andy, if he can survive the next vote, he will be fine. And he has now survived the next vote, and we're off to the races.
Yeah, I mean, should we jump right there, or should we start?
Yeah, we I feel like we go all over the place anyway. So
let's just get to it. I mean, Andy, I feel like this episode just maybe be like, wait, this guy, he just gets the game. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's a guy that was just overthinking and got too in his head about wanting to be liked and wanting this community. And when he kind of just was like, dude, chill out. They won a bunch of challenges in a row, was able to just kind of soak in, we're chilling. People like me. I'm fine. Then he really got in the groove of okay, I know how to play this game. Play dumb here, say this here, he just gets it.
Yeah, and I will say we're going to be going all around the place with the comments too. So the Andy has a redemption arc. He's a goof. I don't buy that. If you were just looking off of episode 1, Andy, yeah, sure, maybe, but Andy's now put him. we talked about this last week, where it's like, okay, yeah, Andy's now put himself in a situation where it's Annika versus Sam. It's no longer everyone versus Andy. He's now in a spot where he can pick and choose, where even when he's revealing stuff to people, he's still in the situation where it's like people don't trust him, but he's still stirring the pot of the Annika versus Sam storyline that we've been getting pre-merge. So I don't really buy that he has no he's a goof. Yeah, he's a goof the same way that, like, I don't know. This is a bad comparison, but the first goof that I can think of is Tyson. But in a way where it's like it's wholesome almost. Yeah. So Jeff needs to stop casting superfans. That's another thing that I can't bring myself to agree with. I understand that, like, during Survivor's heyday, where they're casting jabronis that have never watched the show before. That made for some great television, but it's like, then the fans will bitch about the fact that, they're not casting fans, they're only casting randos.
Can't win.
Yeah, you can't win with these people. So what do you think about the Andy redemption arc?
I think, like you said, like, I feel like you and I feel like me and Chris always love to bring up that in 43, when we were covering it, we said Gabler had what it took to win. Like, we were on that train, like, early, like pre-merge even. And that was, going against the grain, I guess. And again, I haven't been in the Survivor discourse, but I have to imagine people have not been that high on Andy. So yeah, I think after that first episode, I'm like, I pray for this guy's, like, Instagram DMs. Like, he's probably getting like, yeah. So I'm here for it. Like, I'm so here for it. Like, just for no other reason other than, like, we're right. You and I are right. Like, we said this could happen, and it did. He's at the merge. Like, so much is possible at this point for this guy. Like, I think I was saying, like, he's gonna jump ship.
I still think
not.
I still think he's
probably
gonna
will. But
he gave off such chaotic energy in this episode alone that I'm like, okay, yeah, this dude is definitely just out here to try to, like, basically do what Rome is doing.
Yeah.
Which, will Rome survive the merge? I'm assuming that means, like,
the mergatory or
like, unless the question is taken at face value of will Rome make it to the end of the game? Mm-hmm. I don't think so. But, like, if it's survived until the merge, probably survive the early merge, maybe make it to the end.
Dude, I could not tell you what is going to happen with Rome. Like, literally anything could happen. Like, he could be a unanimous mergatory boot next week. Like, that, like, because even his own allies or people on his tribe are like, what is this dude doing? Which, I guess, let's just jump to post challenge, reward challenge. Rome makes some questionable decisions. He tells Saul that Genevieve does not want to work with him. He tells him that Teeny has the amulet, and he says, let's get out Teeny. Like, I'm with you now. And I was like, what are you doing? Genevieve is the one that saved you. Without her, you're gone, buddy. Like, what did you make of this?
There's a lot of, so once again, we're not part of the discourse online, but, like, I still see what people are saying about certain people in the season. And the thing with Rome is the fact he's so fun because he's just doing. And, like, I'm assuming there's thought to what he is doing, but what we're being shown is he's just doing. There is no thought from what we're being shown. And so him doing all of that, him telling Saul one thing, and then Genevieve and Saul having their own conversation, and Genevieve even saying, yeah, I said that Saul's not my guy, but like I didn't think
That
that
was
Rome
great.
was gonna like
Yeah.
say this. And when I watched that scene, I'm like, oh, did they make a mistake by getting rid of Keyshawn? No, they didn't. Keyshawn should have gone. But I think that, and we talked about this last week. I want to see Rome, Andy, and Gabe interact. Like the three of them together is going to make for such chaotic television. And if they got together, like that'd be insane. I don't think they would get together. I don't think. But if they were to somehow form an alliance, they all figure out that they're the most chaotic person. And they got together and did their thing. It would make for a great, because I don't even know who I'd root for in the situation, because I'm actively rooting against all three. Like I don't like you, Wade. It's just, you're the villain of the season type way, and I tend to lean towards the heroes.
Yeah, I think that Rome, like you said, he's doing shit. He's just saying shit. Like he's just like, oh,
Just
what are they?
saying.
We're here. We should just talk. Let me just go tell Saul everything that's going on, just for funds. And yeah, I mean, my position is that I think it was really bad. Because Genevieve, you can be the guy that does shit. You can be the guy that says shit, but I think just don't go against Genevieve. Like, that's your girl right now. Like, she saved you. At least be, and like Genevieve says, Rome, he was naughty. He was being naughty. And I think you can be naughty, Rome, but just not against Genevieve. Like, I think you just leave that. Like, against Teeny, sure, she was ready to vote you out if she had a vote. Saul, sure, he's been against you this whole time. Keyshawn, sure, he tried to vote you out. You took him out, good. Just not against her. That's just my view.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to continue just saying anything, just transition. So if you had more to say,
Rome's moves are crazy hard to understand. Kage and Tony was the same. To be fair, yeah, this and I talked about this during the marathon over the summer, where you play these online and or live games with these people, and they feel like they have to be chaotic and make all these crazy moves all the time. When in reality, on the show, it's only been proven that one person is actually able to win a game that way, and that is Tony. So until Rome wins the season, it'll work until it doesn't. And I think I'm still on the train of it's going to work until it doesn't. I don't think Rome's going to win the season. Now, if it turns out he does, then cool. We can now say, oh yeah, Rome and Tony are the only two people that have ever been able to play overly chaotically and still win a game of Survivor. So I do agree with that. That like, yeah, he does definitely has Tony energy as far as let's just say and do things just to see what happens.
Yeah, let me just go tell Sarah that Lindsay and Cliff are targeting her for just no reason.
Yeah,
let me just go do that. Yeah,
it's and you know what? Rome has made it this far by doing things like he's survived tribals where people know he's not trustworthy. He's still, and Tony did the exact same thing in Cagayan. So like, if we get to a point where Rome is still going, it's going to be a fun ride. I'm so excited for Emergatory/Merge because we now get to see. And we're going to talk about the twist for this episode, but we can see everyone interact now, and it's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, let me just ask you: do you think that this, what do they call it? The Survivor Social Hour? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I think this was Caroline called. I guess Jeff called it too, but I think Caroline.
Yeah. I think it even had a sign as they came in.
Yeah.
Do you think that this would have been, now that we know, okay, next episode we're doing Mergatory, we're all on the same beach. Do you think that this would have been better maybe last week or episode before? Yeah,
I was thinking that, but fine. They did it because I was also thinking, oh, wouldn't it be crazy if they did this whole twist here, and because they made the fact that they made reference to, oh yeah, they're going to be playing cornhole.
Mm-hmm.
This would be very old school, but like if the immunity challenge was just a game of cornhole, and like you got to pick who the each tribe put in the game based off of what they saw, and I'm like, this because I was nitpicking, like just I have to find something to go against the grain, but like that, but similar to you, were you saying, oh yeah, if we kind of done it a couple episodes beforehand, I do think that would have been. Yeah, I do think that could have been cool, but we didn't get that, and I'm all right with it. I'm all right with it.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. You know, in fact, you could even make the argument that like having it like right afterwards, where it's like kind of more fresh in people's minds, maybe like that makes it a bit better. But yeah, I'm okay with it. So the actual social hour itself, what are your thoughts? I mean, you said you like the twist.
Yeah, I remember sitting here last week and we were talking about how the trailer saying, oh, there's going to be a new twist this episode didn't scare us like it would have in previous seasons. I feel like they delivered on what it was. Like it wasn't game breaking, but it was a fun little. It both changed. It both adds elements of what the summit is. And like because we're going right into Mergatory, it's a good spot for them to go off and say, "Hey, this is what's been going on." And you know, I feel like it was fun to get a preview of what we are going, because Annika leaving sucks. To say it, Annika leaving sucks. But once again, I feel like everyone that we have left, watching them interact with other folks is going to be so interesting. So we got a fun preview in this episode of what the rest of the game is going to be like. And I feel like Caroline, out of everyone, like I really enjoyed her confessionals and watching her interact with people during the social hour. What was it called?
Yeah, social hour. Yeah,
social hour. I really enjoyed that. Genevieve was my person that I was gonna say, oh, I wish I could make her my winner pick last week. Caroline's the person I'm saying this week. I wish I could make her my winner pick this week because I feel like Caroline had a great episode.
I think you and I are on the same page there. A couple of things stood out to me this episode. One of them being what Tiana does at the social hour, but another thing was, and I guess this sort of ties in, you know, because Caroline and Tiana have an interaction back at camp afterwards, but was Caroline at the summit. I was just like, she is in a really good spot, and she like is really I just like seeing, like, she was just seemed so like happy. She's just like really enjoying Survivor, and I just thought that was nice. And she's got Teeny, she's got Rachel, she's getting good vibes from everybody, and like I think she did a good job of like saying things, like revealing things, but not like saying way too much. Like even just saying like, oh yeah, me and Sue, like I love Sue, like we're together, like just saying that, like it gives people something without being like, this is game changing information. You know, it's just like would have figured that out anyways once you got to the beach all together. But let's see, Tiana at social hour, why is she spilling tea about Gabe? Did she really think he wouldn't find out? Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not really sure why.
I don't think she cared.
Yeah, no.
I mean, she cared. Yeah. No, I mean, Gabe's a shit stirrer. He's a pot stirrer. You know, that's we're not in a survival world where people don't pick up on things like that. People have clocked very early at who the shit stirrers are this season, and I'm putting these fingers up because there are 3 of them, and we've already talked about them.
Mm-hmm. We want them to make an alliance.
We want them to make an alliance. we and them are not oblivious to the fact that these people are doing these things. I'm glad that they didn't lose the challenge, because I do feel like, similar to Annika, Tiana probably would have been the person to go
Yeah, I
because
think so.
of doing that. But if we hit the merge, and someone said in the comments earlier that Tiana's being set up to be the merge boot, I hope that's what's being set up, so that she doesn't end up being the merge boot, because what this season has continued to deliver on is we have our expectations, and then this is what happens. So I think the phrase is subverting expectations.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that is the case, because if we get to a point where Tiana is very clearly going to be the mergatory boot, and then doesn't, that gives us a lot of options on who does go. And as much as I would love a shit stir alliance, I would be happy with any of the three of them going.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, I think in some seasons it's like, whoa, wait, if this guy gets taken out, like, this isn't going to be as fun anymore. You know, like, I kind of felt that way with Q last season. I still, like, obviously very, kind of love to hate, just like doing shit just to do shit. But it was like so much of the action was stemming from him. But I don't feel that way this season. Like, everyone's delivering, where even if the three biggest shitsters, like you said, even if one of them goes home, even if all three of them go back to back to back, I'm still like, oh no, there's plenty here,
I'm trademarking Shitster Alliance, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're calling it. If it happens, I want to believe that it does, then that's what we're calling it. Also, this is also what stood out to me, what Scott's saying. Did they not have any condiments?
It didn't seem like it.
And I'm like, if I'm there, I'm sure, like, okay, any food is good. I'm starving. Yeah. But like, I feel like I would have been like, really, Jeff? Like,
well, it's funny because I don't like hot dogs. I will only eat hot dogs if they're condiments. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if I was out there, I just eat I just eat the hot dogs.
Yeah. You just eat whatever you get.
Because I'm hungry. But yeah, that was a tad weird. Tiana jumped the gun. I know it's very easy to say yes and no, but yes and no. Like, she did, but she also knows what's ready. Everyone talked about this episode like, we know the merge is coming. We know the merge is coming. We know the so jumping the gun, you either jump it by one round or you jump it at the right round. I'm all right with it, but I understand where people might be like, maybe she should have waited one more round.
Yeah, and I think that kind of what you said earlier, like, she's pretty lucky that they didn't go tribal, because then it would have been like, oh, you totally jumped the gun. But without, with hindsight, or I guess just like taking it like, okay, we're here now, they didn't lose, then it's like, it's probably fine. Like, it's just like you want to plant the seed, right? Like, Gabe, do not trust this guy, like, he is a player. He's looking for idols. He's, in everybody's ear, kind of trying to say, like, he's like Tony, basically. Yeah.
You can make that, for all three. Oh, Andy, I wouldn't put in the Tony category yet, but
right,
like,
yeah.
The other
Roman, Gabe, yeah.
Roman, Gabe, absolutely. I predict Rome will be gone in the next 3 episodes. Yeah,
I could see it.
That's not the craziest.
I could see anything happening right now. Like, usually,
this is David versus Goliath was the last time that I was this invested. And like, I've been invested through seasons since David versus Goliath, but like, this is the where it's like, because I don't watch the episodes live, I do a social media blackout, basically, of I'm not paying attention to anything you people say because I want to make sure that I'm as surprised as everyone else was when they watched the episode. And I haven't had that since David versus Goliath, where I care that much. Like I can watch Winners War, it's COVID times. And one of the rounds got spoiled for me. And it's like, okay, it's not there. Here, it's like I don't want to see how we got there. I just want to see it happen in real time. And you know, if going back to the naysayers of the new era, if y'all want to go that route, then sure, yeah, I agree with you. But I know that's not what you're saying. So
yeah.
Once again, I apologize to anyone that if it's coming off as offensive towards you. I'm not trying to do that, but kick rocks.
I mean, like, you know, we're the ones doing the podcast. We can say whatever we want, you know, like this is good TV, and I don't get Survivor fans who don't like this. You know, I just don't. Anyways, once again, Drew, it comes up that Sam and Sierra are this power. This time, it's not even about like they're dating or that they're like a couple. It's that they're running the show. And I'm just like, okay, Sue says it. So I'm trying to think, like, are they just going off of, did Andy say something? Did Annika, or like, it was Annika, I think.
I mean, it's just two pretty people. I think it's just they're two pretty people, and people
so
immediately
fixated on it. They're so fixated on it, right? Like, it's just, I'm just very surprised by like how much, like, and clearly that this is going to come to, what's the word? Like, this is going to,
this is gonna have a good payoff. Oh, it's gonna have a payoff,
right? Because the show is putting in over and over again, like, there's probably even, you know, they're choosing to show us that they keep bringing up Sam and Sierra. People think Sam and Sierra. So are they going to get split up? Are they going to
make it to the end?
Make it to the end together, or are they going to like have to cut one another to get to the end? Like, I don't know, but I'm curious to see, because there better be a payoff, because they're just like kind of putting it in.
We didn't get the cornhole payoff, so like, but no, I do agree with you. They're putting a lot of stock into the storyline, and I don't know where. That's what's exciting about it, is I don't know where the storyline's going to go.
Yeah,
it could be that one of them flips on each other. It could be we could get a Maria Charlie situation out of that. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine if we get a Maria Charlie situation out of that? But I feel like it's going to be on the other end, and it's going to be something like God, I can't believe when I say this. It could be like a Figtails situation where,
as we all know, everybody's been dying for another Figtails.
Yeah. I remember doing the marathon over the summer and just like wanting to throw up every time I had to say spray Figtails. It could be like that, where like they try to break them apart because of a perceived relationship thing, but it also could be something where the two that we're getting so much content because they do actually make it to the end. And if that, it could be like an all. We both know these two are not together, so our reference points are not because they're together or not together, but like it could be an all-star situation where they're perceived to be together and they actually make it to the end, not because they were in a relationship. This is because they're perceived to be together. They are in game working wise together, and they make it to the end together. We could go a lot of different routes there.
Yeah, and I think it kind of just ties back to the whole, like, I don't know where this is going, like, in the best of ways. Like, it's just so unpredictable. Like, I'm very, very excited for next week and just the rest of the season.
I had so much FOMO because RHAP had a event in New York City for the episode this past week, and I really wanted to go, but we had practice, and I already canceled the practice early this season for the premiere, so I couldn't cancel another practice to go out to New York City again. So I'm like creeping on everyone's Instagrams, and everyone's enjoying themselves in New York City. I'm like, oh man, I've been there. Like it's a great time. Once again, Jake, if we can get you out to New York City at any point to do an RHAP event or a Bryce Wendell event, like it's a great time.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've told you, like, I know people in New York City, so like that's definitely something that can happen. So like I've used up all of my PTO for this year, so I don't know unless I just
48. Yeah, so we've got it for 48.
48. I'm going to 48. Yeah. So yeah, let's make it happen.
Teeny. We didn't really talk about Teeny's reaction after the vote at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, we did.
What did you think about all of that?
So, it was like very tangibly awkward, like between her and Rome. Like Rome just was like just straight up in front of everybody, like, so Teeny, did you know what was happening? And she was like, no, not really. And he's like, oh, so were you going to vote me out? Like, and I was just like, oh God, like he's just putting you on the spot. Like, it's just hard. Like, I mean, like, what do you say? Like, like Teeny was just so fucked last round. Like, no vote. Like, had to go on the journey. Like, now everybody knows she has an advantage. Like, plopped back on the beach after the journey. Like, after like basically everything has happened, it was just like dropped on her, and she's just like, okay, my closest ally Keyshawn is saying we're doing this, so okay, we're doing this. I just felt like I felt bad for her. Like, rough situation.
Yeah, I still think she'll be fine, especially now that we're getting to the next part of the game. And the fact that, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, was she the only person to be on the winning side of the reward challenge from her tribe?
Yeah, she was only a red tribe at the social hour.
Because she mentioned, because she's mentioning, this is how the tribal went down last night and everything. Okay, so I think it puts them in a good spot. I think that a good spot going forward.
Yeah,
because if Rome, and it would be Rome that will try to pull something on Teeny. I don't think Genevieve is going to want to do anything. I really don't think that Saul's going to want to do anything. It would be Rome that would try to mount an offensive against Teeny in that situation. And I do think Teeny would be able to navigate through it because it does seem like people enjoy them for the most part.
Yeah.
Caroline said something at some point. There was a conversation that Caroline, Teeny, and I don't remember who
Rachel.
Was it Rachel? The three of them are having a conversation, and Caroline mentions Rachel, like, we're good. We're good. We're good. I don't remember what exactly that she said about Teeny, but it seemed like it seemed positive, but it didn't seem as positive as it was when she was talking about Rachel.
Yeah. I remember what you're talking about, and I think it's a good thing if Caroline is talking any sort of good thing about you, because just based on, I can't help it. I like analyzing the edit of the show. I don't really do edgic, but like I have in the past, and I just kind of can't help it when I'm watching the show, so I feel like Caroline is definitely being made out to be a main character. I think she is here for a long time, or at the very least, she's a power player or important to this season. So the fact that she's talking good about Rachel and she's talking good about Teeny, I think that's good for both of them, especially given their positions on their tribes, which I think, tying it back to what Caroline says after the social hour, or after the social hour, she wants to be the mother hen. She wants to gather all of her chicks together and lead them to the end. Maybe Rachel and Teeny are those lost chicks that were abandoned by their tribe. Rachel was left out of the vote. Teeny was left out of the vote. Maybe she's the mother hen that takes in chicks from other. What I'm trying to take this analogy somewhere. It's not really working.
So that we can segue
You
to
know
the
what I
eggs.
mean.
So we can segue to the eggs and the chicken trade, because that.
Right. Yeah. Let's just go there, I guess.
I thought that's where you were going with it. So.
Oh no, wasn't trying to. I was just going back to what Caroline was saying about herself. She called herself Mother Hen, and I was like, maybe I can tie this back to like.
I thought you were
under
going
her wing.
to use a witty way to transition to the trade, where we see them trade the chickens for 18 eggs. Is this a fair trade?
Yeah, 18.
Considering that we're merging next, and we're going to get a whole bunch of food anyway. Do you feel like production probably were the losers in this trade?
Oh yeah, no, I think I was pretty shocked at how much they got. Like 18 is, especially if they like wouldn't have merged quite yet. Like they got 18 eggs for just the 4 of them it would be after that tribal, or even 5 if they would have won. That's pretty good, but like, yeah, it's dampened a little bit by the fact that everyone's coming together and everyone's gonna want some of those eggs. But yeah, just thinking about it, like
now.
Yeah.
Sorry, we ate them last night.
Yeah. But thinking about like if they would have just killed them all, like, yeah, how much meat is really on one chicken?
Well, you kill the damn chickens, they give you more protein.
They give you more protein. Yeah, but
as far as how long they last, I don't particularly know. But I feel like, I love, if I were to rank foods, I would take eggs over chicken. I just prefer eggs over chicken. So I would have been down with the trade, especially knowing just mathematically that we're probably going to merge before we eat all of these eggs. And if that's the case, let's just make this trade now. And they did. And I think that production's not stupid, but I feel like that, once again, I feel like they finessed production with getting the 18 eggs for the 2 chickens, right?
Or were there 3?
2, 2 or 3. I feel like they finessed production in that situation.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, yeah, I was very shocked at how much they were able to get from that. Because usually Jeff is like, he like wants to make it his mission to like absolutely like lowball them as much as possible. He knows that he has the upper hand, so like I'm just not going to get. But this time he like kind of just caved immediately.
Jeff here, he was just like, all right, let's meet in the middle.
Yeah, maybe he was just like, cool. Yeah. He's like, let's just get to this challenge. Like,
so we get the immunity challenge, and in this situation, I think I'm rooting for the Teeny Rome tribe to win, because at this point, I don't want any more of them to go.
Mm-hmm.
Between the other 2 tribes, I really care, because I know that no matter who goes, there's still going to be enough great characters on both tribes that we won't be robbed of entertainment on either one of the tribes. Not to say that Annika wasn't entertained, because she was. Like we've talked about how we love the Annika Sam dynamic.
For sure.
So we get that tribe eventually loses, and they go back to camp, and once again we're off to the races, and Andy goes into kill mode, for lack of a better phrase. He's having his little, I compare it to the John Carroll sitting on the rock in Marquesas moment of, these people want me to win. Like, I think that they want me to. When Andy's saying, "Oh yeah, I'm planning, like this is the plan," it's because I told them this, and they're telling me exactly. It's like, okay, yeah, I feel like Andy's still setting himself up to like waste off the episodes. He's gonna go home. I don't think he's gonna win or anything, but like he's setting himself up to have a fun downfall episode, similar to Roman Gabe. Yeah, if you can find a better analogy than the John Carroll one I just gave, please.
I'm not sure about an analogy, but like Andy, I think says it best when after they lose and they get back to camp, the first thing he says is, "I feel like this is the start of my game," and I'm like, okay, do tell me more, Andy. Like let's see it. And then he starts doing kind of like Rome and Gabe, fitting that they're the shit stirrers. He starts just kind of doing shit, and seeing like, oh, let me say this here, and then they're gonna have a conversation, and then and then they're gonna tell me something, they're going to pull me aside, and then, oh, but that's going to be exactly what I wanted them to do. When there was that whole sequence where he went to Annika and Rachel and was like, please save me, please tell me what the plan is, and then they two go together with Sierra, talk for a little bit, and then afterwards Annika and Rachel say, Andy, come here, let me tell you. And he was like narrating it throughout and was like, they think that they just pulled one over on me, or like that they're controlling what's happening. No. I made that conversation happen. I was like, whoa, okay, like this is kind of badass, like Andy, like.
And no matter, so I want to go back to this comment in a second, but I'm going to take this one first. Andy absolutely thinks he was the mastermind of Annika's downfall, and he was not. It's funny because when Annika is leaving and she asks, who did this? Sam's the first person to raise his hand. And then Andy says, the three of us did it. I think that was Andy reading the room and saying, oh yeah, the three of us. I feel like Sam beat Andy to putting his hand up. I think that Andy wanted to put his hand up. Sam beat him to it. So Andy had to save face. Oh, okay, well, Sam's taking credit for it. I'll say the three of us did it so that Sam looks like the mastermind later on. And Sam can get targeted later. That could be totally wrong. But just based off of what we had seen in the episode, the fact that Sam, based off the edit, was the first person to say, oh, yeah, it was my idea. Okay, cool. It's your idea. Now,
right.
When we merge, when Rachel, so going to this comment, do you think Rachel can bounce back from this? Can she throw Sam under the bus to Andy about the idol? Leave the second part of that alone for just a second. Do you think Rachel can bounce back from this? Yes, because now she has a patsy here. She has Sam raising his hand saying it was his idea. So you merge. Rachel already has these connections with these people from the social hour. Says, oh yeah, Sam pulled a fast one on us fast one on me the other night. Sam's the mastermind, which means this duo is probably a thing because they voted together. And now all of a sudden, Andy is like, oh yeah, I was going along with the plan.
Yeah, I was about to be voted out. I just went along with it. Like Rachel can't fall for him for that,
Yeah, exactly.
And she's not going to,
I think Rachel can bounce back. I think that Sam is in the worst spot now because he rose his hand first.
Yeah, I think this kind of ties back to the fact that, like, I'm going to be real. I think that Sierra made the wrong move tonight. Like, just straight up. Like, one of the biggest themes so far has been everyone thinks that Sam and Sierra are this couple / power duo running the show. Well, okay, but really she's just in a really good spot of like, she has Sam and she has the girls. So why don't you, Sierra, because your two biggest concerns in this game are, can I trust Andy Sam really wants me to trust Andy and move forward with him, but I don't know if I can. And everyone thinks that me and Sam are a power couple, and everyone's fixated on that. Okay, how about you take out two birds with one stone, vote out Sam, honestly, like, or Andy. I mean, and just stay with the girls. Like, that's my view on this. I was pretty like, I think that Sam, this was good gameplay by Sam by being able to convince her to kind of, in my opinion, go against her best interests and vote out Annika, who wasn't gonna go against you, Sierra. Like, that's just my view. Do you agree with that?
No, I it's very easy to say right now. Yeah, I think Sierra should have kept Annika. Like Sierra ends up winning the season, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, I guess not. But yeah, in this spot, I would have voted to keep Annika because I do feel like them would have been tight. But it's also been shown last episode that her and Sam are very close game wise. The problem is, and what we both referenced is, when we go to that next phase of the game, which everyone knows is about to happen, and they know that they're being lumped together, whether it's romantically or not, they're being lumped together. You know there is a 50% chance they're going to pick you to vote out in that duo. If you get rid of the duo now, the perceived duo now and or real duo now, all of a sudden you're looked at as a free agent by everyone except for the two women that are actually in your alliance. And even if Andy goes and runs his mouth, which he would do anyway, it doesn't really matter because Rachel built her bonds on the social hour, and you can get something going there. So I agree with you that she it was a bad move. But we'll see if it works out for her in the end. Because if it does, then yeah, we can. Yeah, oh, well, guess we're wrong. But like, if it doesn't, yeah.
I mean, yeah, obviously, is Sierra screwed? No, not at all. In fact, I think she has a very good chance at winning. I think that she has, I know I just said I think she made the wrong move, but I think in general, she was playing the middle well until she had to pick a side, So I think she's a good player. And I think that there's so much game left to play. She could absolutely win. And then I look like a fool by saying that this is such a bad move.
This is when me picking Abraham to win season 41.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Rachel's hopeless connection with Teeny and Caroline. Yes. Like love that Annika went full wide-eyed rage monster confronting the tribe. It would have been better if she had totally lost it. Totally lost it.
But yeah.
But like, I feel like what we got from her, where Andy's waving bye to her, and she's just like, no.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was all right with that. Because I don't even know if Andy was doing that to be an antagonist
or
genuinely saying bye, but she was not about it.
Like, yeah, I agree. I don't think he was trying to be like, a little shitster, but
yeah,
he could, like there's a possibility. Yeah.
Shitster Alliance, Rome Gabe, Sam and Gabe, Shitster Alliance trademark. Remember this, folks.
Yeah.
Sam or Sierra need to use Andy as a meat shield. Yeah, okay. Sierra let Sam have a win here. Ultimately, it was a tug of war over whose second option stays, and she lost.
Yeah,
and it's fine. It's a trade. It's trade-offs. You can trade off now.
Yeah,
but like when this time comes around, and then again, it's like, Sam, I gave you Annika. Give me someone.
Yeah, and I think ultimately it's just like I think she felt like a very particularly strong relationship with Sam, and that's totally fair. You just don't want to ruin that, and she probably just didn't feel that as strongly with the girls. And like Gabe said, tug of war, and you gotta give them a win. So I get it. I just personally think overall, when you weigh everything out, I think that you would have eliminated some concerns if you stayed and if you would have kept Annika. That's all.
Annika was my. I think this is the second time this has been posted, but Annika was my first heartbreak of boot of the season. I mean, I was shocked that it happened. I was pretty high on Annika. Heartbreak. I think my heart will be broken if Rachel, Caroline, or Genevieve go home. Those are just my three. Just and those last two is because of the last 2 weeks. Rachel's has been my winner pick, but like, yeah, Annika, she was fun. It was fun watching her versus Sam. So like her leading in this episode, like it sucked.
Yeah, and I guess the payoff we had was Sam being like, I want to say that I was the one that got you out. Like, you don't think that I can saw a rope, or whatever. Like, you're going to criticize me for not just chopping it. Okay, well, I'll chop your game.
Yeah, I'll stuff your torch. And yeah, and the fact that she looked at Rachel first and was like, was that you? And she's like, hell no, it wasn't.
Yeah. Kind of reminded me of Natalia in David vs. Goliath.
Yeah.
And, Alec, having that little, and then her turning to Kara and being like, did you do this? And she's like, no, of course not,
I want to get to Gabe's comment in a second, but the season's really good so far, and if it continues on this pace, has potential to be in the best of the new era. I wanted to ask you this because I didn't have you on during the marathon. What is your favorite season of the new era? While I pull up my list.
So far, I feel like if I were to rewatch all of them, my answer would probably change. But just thinking back to how much I was enjoying it as it was happening, probably 42.
Okay, so we're on the same page because 42 is my favorite season of the new era.
Yeah. I really like 42.
Having said that, the next comment of Coach Drew will be sad if the nerdy girl archetype with glasses is voted out every season. Yeah, that is. I'm so glad people have picked up on my type. Rachel is. I mean, I don't even know if she's a nerdy girl. She just happens to wear glasses and is a brunette. But like, yes, I will be very sad if Rachel gets voted out this season. I do think that she'll be able to adjust moving forward because of what's happening next in the game. Yours being 45. 45 is my second favorite season of the new era. So yeah,
I think 45 is my second favorite as well. Another thing I wanted to bring up that I thought was really interesting is Sam not playing his idol.
Did Sam hear his name? Did we hear Sam's name?
No, it's just, I mean, come on, guys. Like, this is Survivor. Like, anything could happen. And like, obviously, Sam's name was thrown out. It wasn't real, It was just a little, it was a fake name just given to Andy. But like, it was out there. And again, anything could happen. Like, it's just crazy to think like, if that were me, like, maybe you could say like this doesn't make me a very good player because Sam had reason behind not playing it. He didn't want Andy to know he even had it. Like, that's totally valid reasoning. But like, if I have an idol that is only good for that tribal council, and like I would have to play it. Like, that's just like my mind would literally explode if I didn't.
Yeah, no, especially because it expired in this.
Yeah.
So because you said that, I want to go here. Sam not playing his idol is probably not to hurt Andy's feelings. I mean, I don't buy that, but that is a rational reason not to.
Yeah,
I don't think that was the actual reason, but like, yeah, sure, it's not to.
I don't know about his feelings. I think it's just like you're gonna have some explaining to do of like, why didn't you play it? And
yeah, when I was telling you, one of the women
why
had
didn't
it.
you tell me? I mean, yeah, and because and there was that whole thing with like Andy found the beware,
And hit it.
yeah, and then or the clue, was that what it was?
No, he found. Oh no, yeah, I think he found the clue. Oh man,
Or he saw it. He saw it, and
he re-hid it. He re-hid something, and then
I can't remember quite. Like, yeah,
and then we're off there, and then he like tells the women about it, and Sam can't, or Andy can't find it anymore, and is portrayed as a goof, as we were comments earlier. Should we replace the Final Four challenge with the Saw Rope challenge? Yeah.
Andy be screwed. Yeah.
Coach Drew's type is a nerdy girl and OnlyFans Ozzy. That's our Ozzy reference. Ozzy reference for the night. This season's Eric and Marianne. Okay, so 41 and 42. Yes, going back to this. Yeah, you don't want to upset your second option who's proven to be emotional. And that is true. You know, Andy, I know it's been 4 episodes since Andy had a public moment, but in real time, it was 8 days ago.
Right.
So
yeah, that's not all. Yeah. And, you know, obviously there's a big part of this episode and a big part of what we've been talking about with Andy is like, he's kind of moving past that. But when you listen to how he talks about at tribal council, when he talks about moving forward, he does say like, yeah, I want to be a part of a we. They talk about like the concept of we, like who is we in this scenario of tribal council? Who's all voting together? Do you know? You know? And Andy's like, yeah, I don't want to be a me in this game. I want to be a we. And a big part of his survivor journey, I guess, is like wanting to be a part of a community. And so that is emotional, you know, that's an important thing to him. And yeah, I think that it would be like Sam is kind of putting all of his eggs in the Andy basket right now. Like he's sacrificing his relationship with Sierra on Andy, like telling her like, we got to keep Andy. Like that's like basically giving her like an ultimatum, you know, like, and if you're if you're gonna ruin that by just playing an idol and Andy being like, what the fuck, you know, like I get, yeah, it's so I actually agree with him not playing it. I think that you got to take that risk, you know.
Yeah. So we ultimately lose Annika in this episode. I feel like Annika, much like almost everyone that we've lost in this season, will be like missed. Like I feel like Annika left her mark on the season. I know I keep bringing up the her versus Sam thing. That's because it was fun. I was, like I said a couple weeks ago, I was convinced that she was gonna like just punch him in the face based off the interactions that they were having. So I really enjoyed Annika. I was shocked that was the way that the votes went.
I think Annika was shocked too.
I think Annika might have been shocked as well. I sat here watching it, and it was like when it cut to her crying, I'm like, oh man, like I felt bad for her.
Yeah, I know. I was like kind of just like laughing, you know, at like the reaction. But then when I saw she was crying, I was like, oh, yeah, kind of sad. Yeah.
So final thoughts on Annika.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Like I don't want to say that like I would have rather somebody else gone home, you know, like I definitely didn't want Andy to go home. I think having him on the season for as long as possible
at this point.
Exactly. And, you know, she left a good mark on the show. Her and Sam had a really fun, you know, back and forth and good casting, just good casting. And, you know, not everybody can stay for Survivor. Somebody had to go. And
yep. And it wasn't Andy. Roman Soul rivalry lasted longer. Yes, that's going to be very exciting.
I'm so happy that they get to that they get to be on in the merge together.
Annika was
Roman
really
Saul.
fucking hurt, but also very salty. It will go down as one of the best blind sides. Yeah, if I were to rank my all-time blind sides, I don't know where that fall right now because it's fresh in my memory. But yeah, okay. They've pretty much played the pre-merge as an individual game. I'm assuming that's all together. But all already. Yeah. The pre-merge has been very fluid.
Yeah.
It's already been very fluid, and that's why I think the Shitster Alliance TM is going to hit the merge and not all out flip on their tribes, but flip on their tribes.
I don't know. I don't think Gabe's going to flip on his tribe. I think Gabe definitely wants he wants to keep Sue and Caroline right next to him all the way through because he thinks he can control them. He thinks that he can beat them. Whatever he doesn't want to flip on them. But you're right about Rome and you're right about Andy, and yeah, I think we're speculating so much on what might happen. We're just going to have to see. Is there anything else that we?
No, I'm super excited for next week.
Yeah.
What am I doing for the? I don't know. I feel like I'm doing something. Anyway, that's the point. That's the point. I'm really excited to watch next week's episode. I'm really excited to see how long we get before we get a bad episode. Because even the great season, so like even everyone puts Heroes vs. Villains on the pedestal for good reason because it's my favorite season too. There are like 2 episodes in that season that it's like, okay, yeah, that happened, and it's fine. So I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop with this one. Even Kagayan. Kagayan's in my top 5 or 10 or whatever. Kagayan has an episode where it's like, okay, I don't care. So when the other shoe drops, I hope it's not obvious. I hope it's when we do a rewatch, it's like, okay, yeah, this episode isn't as great as the other ones, but it's still pretty good. We haven't had that yet. We've had, like you said, at the top of this, we're batting 5 for 5. Giancarlo Stanton just hit a home run about 5 minutes ago. I'm not a Yankee fan. I'm actually rooting for them to lose. But he's hit his 4th home run in the playoffs. It's insane. Okay. It's a predictable Tiana boot. Would it be boring? If it's a predictable Tiana boot, would it be boring?
Depends on how it materializes. I mean, like for a lot of episodes, like I'm trying to think of what was her name? In 45, when Caleb played his shot in the dark at Jay Maya. Yeah. I think that like before that, it was very like, I think a lot of people said like, oh, she would probably be a predictable boot, not really everybody on her tribe gets along with her very well, whatever. She will probably be the mergatory boot, but it wasn't predictable what ended up happening on how we got there. So it just depends on what happens leading up to it. But it definitely could be her. And I think, if you were to, say like gun to my head, who do I think is going to be the mergatory boot? I'd probably go with her.
Yeah. Which if she's the name going to tribal, would it be boring if she went home? The actual vote, yes. The episode, who's to say? Who was it? But if she's the name going into the actual tribal and she doesn't go home, that makes it so much better. Because we've now been trained to think she was going home and she doesn't. Yeah. I don't know where Chris and Kahuna were this morning. TBH, they're all playing very well. And we have no idea what's going to happen, which makes a great season. And it could be a Rome boot since they will all now be exposed to his personality and know-it-all attitude. Saul and Teeny will jump ship quickly. Yes, that's the fun of the merge, is that people will they don't want to be with they get to pick and choose who they work with now. They're not handcuffed to what production puts them, like the tribes of production puts them on. They can now work with whoever, which is why I love this twist that we got in this episode. Final thoughts, loved it.
Yeah.
I potentially will watch next week live. I don't know what my schedule's looking like, but I might watch next week live. If not, we'll see. Jake, final thoughts, and then we can leave.
Yeah. Batting 5 for 5. Let's make it 6 for 6 next week.
All right, man.
Yeah. All right. Grab your torches. Head back to camp. Bye.